Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and today we're going to be taking a look at 3 relatively new Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. And all 3 of these games were sent to me for review by the developers, and they couldn't be more different from each other, as you'll see here. But what they have in common is that they are all physical releases with manuals and extra stuff. So let's jump right in. So the first game here is called Dimeo's Jukebox, and this is a really interesting one because it's created by a single guy. His name's Rob Dimeo, and essentially he is a chiptune artist that wanted to release his chiptune music on a physical cartridge, and this is exactly what it is, but he also wanted to build in his own game on the cartridge as well. So there's a jukebox in there where you can listen to the music, and there is a full puzzle game that you can play. It's completely optional. In addition to the physical cartridge, you also have a fold-out manual there, full color, which is nice, and then you also have a poster. And I love busting out my modded Game Boy Color to play these, and you see it here. But I'm also going to be using the GameCube Game Boy player to capture all the footage for this video. But like I mentioned, this is really kind of interesting because it's really an album release just in this cartridge form here. And so like I said, you can basically just walk through the jukebox and listen to the individual songs. And I'm going to play a bunch of samples for you here. And there is an optional puzzle adventure game here that you can go and, I guess, basically retrieve all of your stolen music. Completely optional, but it's actually pretty fun. Now, I haven't unlocked everything yet, but it seems to be basically just logic puzzles. A lot of these sort of sliding puzzles where you have to do it in a certain order, a certain sequence to then get to the next level and basically find your music. Now, in the marketing of this, he does admit that this is his first game, and you can kind of tell because it's a little rudimentary in its graphics and design. And, you know, I don't know if that's necessarily a good or a bad thing. Hopefully he doesn't take that the wrong way because, again, I do think it actually is a pretty cool release and something that's kind of unique. But you can kind of tell it feels kind of like an early PC game or something like that. So again, it's not going to blow you away with this gameplay and this graphics and all that sort of stuff. But if you like chiptunes, you might want to check this out. And by the way, I'm going to put links to all of these down in the video description below, so if you want to check them out yourself, you certainly can. And what's interesting about this particular release is that he is up in Canada, so if you happen to be in the US like I am, well, your dollar is going to go way further. You're actually going to get, I don't know, probably 30% off or something like that if you buy it that way. So again, all of the details down below. Next up is a game that surprised me in a very good way. You see it here. It is called Quest Arrest, and it's got a really cool box. It has the physical cartridge. He's also got a manual right there. And this is created by John Rue. Now, the reason why this surprised me is because just how cool it is. So on the surface, it looks like, well, like it's inspired by Pokemon, right? The classic Game Boy Pokemon, and you'd be 100% right. However, and I'm gonna have to blur it out in this video, the humor is very adult in this game. It's kind of shocking, actually, in a really good way, because you're playing this thinking, oh, it's gonna be a kid's game, blah, blah, blah. And wow, okay, some spicy language here. So basically in this game, you play a detective in this town that is overridden by this crime boss who is just creating a ton of havoc. And you go around and you try to arrest burglars and muggers and criminals and interview people. You're putting out fires that are started by the bad guys. You're trying to prevent people from, trying to jump off bridges. It's pretty cool. And the way combat works is, again, very much like Pokemon, where you are the detective and then you're trying to beat down the health of a robber, but you don't want to kill them. You want to actually beat it down just far enough so that you can attempt to arrest them. Although you don't have to. Actually, that's the really interesting thing about this game, is that you can play good cop or bad cop. So if you go around and just kill all the robbers, well, that may solve the crimes, but then you might scare all of the citizens and they may not respect you. And so this game definitely has a morality element to it, multiple ways to play it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was laughing a lot. Again, the language in this and the characters are, well, they're very memorable. This is a really fun game. And then next up, it's a game that's completely different from the previous two. That is called Tobu Girl Deluxe. And you see the box here. This is a great release, by the way. So I just want to point out that the box, it has that really shiny spine right there, which looks great. Of course, the box is full color. And then you open it up. Of course, you've got the colored cartridge, which again is a nice touch. And then check out this manual. So it's a full color manual. And as I'm flipping through it here, again, you can see it's really high quality, but then also actually there's like stickers thrown in here. And then there is a comic at the back. Again, I was really blown away by just how much work went into this. And then to top it off, they've got these collectible challenge coins. There's 2 of them here. So I believe this actually was a Kickstarter back in 2019. And so maybe some of these were different tiers or things that people could buy into. But again, for a new physical game, physical release, I was pretty blown away by the packaging and all the really cool extras that they included. And so what's the game like? Well, you see it here. Basically, it is an arcade game. It reminds me very much of Doodle Jump, if you've ever played that on mobile devices. I always reference Doodle Jump because, in my opinion, that's the first game that I ever played that was kind of like this, where essentially your character is always bouncing, and it's kind of roguelike. Is it roguelike? I don't know. Basically, you know, it's randomized every time, and essentially you're trying to get to the top. She's trying to rescue her cat for some weird reason. It doesn't really matter, but essentially what you're doing is that, you know, every time your character jumps, well, you need to land on something, and that kind of goes on forever. But there's a timer over on the right, so you can't just rest. And then one of the buttons actually will allow you to flap, so you can kind of, you know, flap a little bit to get up to the next platform to kind of get yourself out of danger. And you have a little bit of energy that will be eaten up, so you can't do it forever. And then you also have a dash that you can do. You can either do the dash, you know, in any direction, but if you dash down and then you take out one of the platforms, well, that rebuilds your energy, then you can flap more. Does that make sense? And so this is a game that's designed to be played over and over again. You're expected to die. It's not a big deal. It completely just restarts quickly. It's not very frustrating. You're just trying to get as high as possible. Again, like Doodle Jump, if you've played that. And so this is a pretty fun, solid arcade game that has really good graphics. And again, you can tell that they put a lot of time and love into it. I was really surprised. So this is definitely a highlight for sure. And so that's a quick look at 3 new Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. Now, like I mentioned, I'm going to put links down in the video description below if you want to check them out for yourself. Also be aware that I believe all of these are also available digitally, and some of them actually are free to download. So if you happen to have, you know, an emulator that you want to just check them out first to make sure that it's, you know, something that you're going to be interested, definitely do that. But yeah, it is so much fun seeing brand new, you know, Game Boy Color games with boxes and manuals and cartridges. You know, now it's pretty cool. So thank you very much to everyone who sent me these. That was a lot of fun. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching my videos. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.